eat, get fat. Um, there's nothing better than man eating some turkey. Stretching out on that couch, just snoozing. Welcome to the show. It's the day before we get to Gobble and Wobble. I'm Wes Pruitt. You are sitting down at the sports buffet. Appreciate everybody watching and listening. Come on in, have a seat. You're about to get full of sports, as we like to say. By the way, we got Mike Patton coming on at 9 a.m. this morning to talk. That's in about 20 minutes, 22 minutes, to talk some FCS football. As we got some teams in the state of Tennessee that are gonna be playing some ball. John Sturdivant is in the house. For those of you not watching, John Sturdivant sitting over here next to me. Not next to me, but on the screen. John, how you doing, man?
Yeah, keep dreaming. I'm only 5 hours away. Keep dreaming.
Yeah, I know you are. All right, man. Let's go ahead and jump into it. So, the Memphis Tigers. Let's talk a little college basketball. So let's start, John, with a little trip down to Hawaii. And I always love the Maui Invitational. It's one of my favorite basketball tournaments every year. It's just synonymous with Thanksgiving, right? And this year it returned to the Lahaina, Hawaii Civic Center, which is where it's taken place the entire time, right? Up until last year when the wildfires happened. And we pray for everybody affected by that. But now it's back, John, and so are the Memphis Tigers for the first time since the 2011 season. And speaking of making waves, we would see Ed Scott jump into the ocean recently and make some waves. By the way, dude, I love Ed Scott. The more I watch that guy, man, he's great. But the Tigers would knock off UConn 99-97 2 days ago in a overtime thriller. And then yesterday, knock off Michigan State 71-63 to move on to the championship game for the first time in program history in this tournament. Now, I mean, some people out there say that Michigan State was Memphis's easiest game of the year. You look at the final score, you maybe you can say that. Michigan State's going to be all right by the end of the year. It's Tom Izzo. Anybody that trashes Tom Izzo doesn't know college basketball. I'll just go ahead and put that out there now. There's a lot of people out there that were trashing Tom Izzo. You're trashing a legend, and you're trashing somebody that you have no idea. That guy's forgotten more about basketball than 3/4 of us in the country will even ever know. So for all the people out there that want to, make just blasphemous damn statements like that, I'm going to say something about it, John. It's stupid. Good win yesterday. Great win yesterday. There's some people that I think Gary Parrish put out an article saying that Memphis has the potential to be ranked number one in the country by the time the polls come out. I mean, I understand where he's coming from there, but I think Memphis is a top 20 team. I think Memphis could potentially even be a top 10 team. Do I think they're the number one team in the country? No, I don't. And that nothing against GP. Look, like I said, anybody that wants to sit here and say that Jeff Goodman and other people are idiots because they said that Penny Hardaway was on the hot seat when the season started. John, correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't Gary Parrish put an article out very similar to us at Four Star, talking about how maybe it was time to possibly look at other options for Penny?
Yeah, you weren't the only one. GP was the second one to it. And then I think one was going to put something out there, but I think GP beat him to it. If I'm not mistaken, too.
Yeah, I mean, so all these people that want to, now Memphis is now 6-0 on the season, the best start since 2011 when the team started 7-1. Now take on Auburn today. Uh, you know, I hate to tell people, but Penny Hardaway did not just bury Hurley. They're the two-time defending national champions, folks. I understand they haven't played anybody early in the season, but come on, really? Um, John, the Tigers are the first Power Four, non-Power Four team to make it to the Invitational Championship game in Hawaii since 2019. When who did it, John? Do you remember?
No, not on top of my head.
Dayton Flyers. The Dayton Flyers did it. The Dayton Flyers. Speaking of Flyers, John, Tyrese Hunter, man. Let's just talk about him real quick. 23 points, 7 to 15 shooting. Third game in the past four in which he's scored 20 or more points in a game. 5 3-pointers last night, as well as a couple assists and a rebound. But late in the game, John, is really what I want to focus on. And I really want to get your thoughts on the game as a whole, but I also want to get your thoughts on 34 seconds left. Hunter.
Is this
And
Michigan State game or UConn, by the way?
Sorry. Michigan State.
Okay.
Hunter and PJ Carter drained massive free throws to secure the win. Free throws, John. Free throws. Memphis is hitting them there right now. It's something that, for basically our history, has not been all that great, right? Think back to Darius Washington. Um, you know, I can stop there, honestly. But as a team, Tigers shot 44% from the field, 40% from long range, and held the Spartans to just 22% from long distance. So defensively, this team's elite. We've been talking about it. Our only question going into this season was, can this team gain the cohesiveness to play together offensively? So far, the answer to that question is yes. Would you agree?
Yeah, I can agree to that because they're playing together and they're sharing the basketball. And we talked about this numerous times, messaging back and forth and what. Basically, we thought going into this season, we're like, who wants to play hero ball, right off the bat? And to me, it doesn't really seem like that case at all because you're dividing your points up between 4 or 5 players, key players. I might add, like I talked about last week, Jordan and Cisse might not get their 10 to 15 points a game, but at least they're getting their 8 to 10 points and they're getting their 6 to 7 point rebounds as well to help you out a little bit, and they're making clutch shots when it matters the most as well. But I want to talk about this UConn game real quick before I talk about the Michigan State game, because I got to watch
Sure.
one a little bit more in depth, to be honest with you. But
Yeah.
I know people want to say, yeah, we got lucky in this game and all that because they really got the technical, which very well was the case because the game was tied up when they got the technical on they called it over the back for one thing on UConn, and we would have got 2 free throws.
No, it was 96-92 when he got the 10.
Okay, it was 96-92. I apologize then. But either way, you know, I'm just proud of the guys that stood out in that game. Like you said, Hunter stood out in that game and other players stood out. But the thing is, you held, like you brought up, you held UConn to 14 of 30 from the 3-point range. And it seemed like everything was hitting in that first half as well. And then that second half, they just went on that 18-4 run in that second half. So, yes, it did remind me of the Mario Chalmers in Kansas all over again. Because I'm like, Penny, you better foul. Everybody thought Penny should have fouled here. But I also want to say this. somebody asked Penny Hardaway, I forgot who, but are you disappointed in your player for overreacting when Cisse got pushed? And uh, Hardaway said, no. I would have basically, I'm glad he stood up for his players. It just shows how much team bonding this team actually has as well early on in the season.
Great point right there. And one that I was going to bring up is that right there, that moment told me this team's a lot more together than maybe many may realize. And to your point, John, Hunter had 26 points in the UConn win. Musa Cisse led the team with 8 rebounds. Haggerty led the team with 5 assists, and they held Reed Jr., which was one of UConn's best players, to 22 points. He led the team scoring. Then yesterday, Hunter again, 23 points. Haggerty had 9 rebounds to lead the team. That's got to change against Auburn, and I'll explain why in just a second. We got Mike Patton coming on in about 10 minutes, too. And then Haggerty had 4 assists, and then they held Richardson to 18 points yesterday. But John, speaking of Auburn, we know Bruce Pearl, and I know people are going to trash the guy. But let's be honest. He's one of the best coaches out there.
Yeah, let's be honest, because you got to remember, people want to bash Bruce Pearl because he was at Tennessee, but who's the guy that came to Memphis Madness that one year on a motorcycle? Bruce Pearl.
Mm-hmm.
You remember that pretty well, don't you?
I do.
It speaks. He has spoke so highly on Memphis ever since the Tennessee days. So you still want to criticize a guy that's basically a guy that when he was at Tennessee, but he would go. I still think he interviewed for that job, to be honest with you, back then as well. People don't realize that, but I really do think he might have interviewed for that job when it came open back then as well, when Josh Pastner got let go as well. That's what I'm starting to wonder. Because also, I would say this: Auburn playing Memphis, in neutral sites and whatever, years past, has definitely helped the program get a little bit better as well.
Oh, agree 100%. Auburn's coming off a 85-72 win over number 12 North Carolina in the second semifinal game, to make their way to the championship. Johnny Broom, John, led the Auburn Tigers, with 23 points, 19 rebounds, with 5 other players scoring in double figures. I'll say that again, John. One player had 23 points and 19 rebounds, and 5 other players had double figures. Auburn's biggest strength came from long distance, as they nailed 11 three-pointers in the contest. Now, yes, Tyrese Hunter has made 12 three-pointers over the last 2 games. He's 12 of 20 from long distance. But, and yes, Memphis is shooting 47.9% from deep. But, man, John, we being Memphis, has to continue making free throws made per game. Memphis averages 21.6. That ranks them 9th in the country. Bruce Pearl, in his 11th season, that's crazy. He's been there 11 years.
I know, right?
11th season at Auburn, 206 and 119. He is in his 30th season overall, a record of 668 and 264. Johnny, like I said, Broom, 20 points. He leads their leading scorer with 20 points a game, leading rebounder with 12 rebounds a game, and Denver Jones is their leading assist maker with 3.5, excuse me, a game. Big time stuff, man. Musa Cisse, Dane Danger, Jordan, Nicholas Jourdain, all three of them, John, are going to be really, really, really important today. 4 p.m. tip.
11 o'clock
What's your
Hawaii
thoughts on
time.
this game? I think Memphis has a chance. Yep. I was about to say 11 o'clock local. I think Memphis has a legitimate chance, John, to win this championship.
Yeah, right now Auburn is a 7.5 point favorite by FanDuel as we speak. Yeah, I do think we do have a good shot because one, you are well rested. Two, you pretty much had the whole day to watch basketball and enjoy other festivities, and then definitely scout Auburn, North Carolina because they did play the last game yesterday, their local time
Mm-hmm.
as well. So that's another key thing also. But the thing is also Auburn had to come back from 21 down or 20 or not 21 down. That was North Carolina. I apologize. Auburn had come back from 18 down the other night to make it to this championship game as well. So this game really well could go either way. I know Auburn's a top five matchup for you, but this game really well could go either way. But the keys for me for the Tiger to win this game, just being patient on offense.
Yep.
I mean, because North Carolina was 6 of 16 from the three ball, so Auburn and Bruce Pearl are going to play some zone at you. So just be patient on the offense. Rebound the basketball because right now Auburn is averaging at least double digits on the boards in the offense rebound department. I know that's still a little bit of concern if you're the Tigers, in general. And then make your free throws like you have been as well because last night North Carolina was 12 of 19 from the free throw line, and then just shared the basketball still. And you got to air the ball out like we talked about. Just air the ball out if you got to.
Well, I mean, you've got to continue with the smart shot selection that we've seen in the last two ball games against UConn and North Carolina and Michigan State. Um, you've got to continue doing that. When you look at the first four games of the season, John, first half shooting was not good. There was not very smart shots taken. The last two games, I don't know what's clicked, but the last two games it's worked much, much, much better. John, let's take a quick road trip around the nation as we look at some games today. 11 a.m. tip off on ESPN. 3-1 Louisville takes on 4-0 Indiana in the Bad Boys Mower Battle for Atlantis tournament. Indiana's a 2.5 point favorite. Gulf Coast Showcase. East Kentucky comes in 4-2, taking on the Louisiana Tech. That's on Flow Sports, John. If you got Flow Sports,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I don't have it. Detroit Mercy taking on they're 3-4, taking on Rhode Island in the Jacksonville Classic. So that's an 11 a.m. tip off. It's also on Baller TV if you have that. 17.5 point favorite for Rhode Island today. In the Cancun Challenge Mayan Division consolation game, you've got North Dakota coming in at 3-3, taking on Southeast Louisiana. I'll say that again. That's SELA, by the way, folks. SELA is Southeast Louisiana. That's 11:30 tip off. And as we look, oh, John, did you know that Troy hosts a Trojan Turkey tip off?
Did not. Pretty
I love it,
interesting.
man. UTSA is taking on Merrimack today. It's on ESPN plus plus plus. Comes on. It starts at noon. And UTSA is 1-3. Merrimack is 1-5. So that's going to be a battle today in that ball game. Then you scroll down, John. You look at a bunch of other games today. West Virginia takes on Gonzaga. As we know, fifth place game, Colorado State takes on Iowa State. Tennessee's got a toughie at home. SEC Network 3 o'clock today as they take on the 2-4 Skyhawks from UT Martin. The Samford Thanksgiving Invitational, North Dakota State takes on 0-7 West Georgia. I love this time of year, man, because there's so many tournaments. They're everywhere. Oregon takes on San Diego State, and then Players Era Festival Power Tournament.
That's gonna be a fun game to watch right there because San Diego
It is.
State, man, they played pretty well yesterday against Creighton.
They have. They have. Then you got the Tigers, and you got the Battle of the Tigers. They're clawing it out today. That's Auburn, number 4 in the country, coming in 6-0, taking on the Memphis Tigers, who also come in at 6-0. The Jacksonville Classic, John, UT Arlington takes on 4-2 Austin Peay. That game is going to be on Governor's Sports Network as well as Baller TV, if you have that as well. Fun stuff, man. Virginia Tech takes on South Carolina. Both those teams come in 3-3. That's on FS1. Interesting matchup here, John. It's a consolation game in the Riviera division of the Cancun Classic or Challenge. Sorry, Tulane 4-3 taking on Belmont 4-2. Interesting little matchup there, man. All right, John, who you got tonight in the Players Era Festival Power Tournament? That's number 21 Creighton Blue Jays coming in at 4-2, taking on number 20 Texas A&M Aggies. Who you got, John? Over under on this game, by the way, is Texas A&M. Over under is 143.5. Spread is Texas A&M 3.5.
Give me good old Buzz. Buzz and A&M.
Really, give me the Blue Jays to get the win.
I just think Creighton right now, they got this, like, I mean, they're just not sharing the basketball. Watching a little bit of them yesterday, and they're just relying on a lot of jump shots that could not even. They're playing in Vegas, of course, but, you know, people are just enjoying Vegas while they can.
100%. 100%, man. All right, man. In the third place game of the Maui Invitational presented to you by Norvax, by the way, Michigan State takes on number 12 North Carolina tonight, 8:30 ESPN2. Who you got, John?
North Carolina.
Really?
Big little Hubert Davis.
Okay. Interesting. All right, man.
I also want to say this real quick.
Yes.
Also, what a great game yesterday between Kansas and Duke.
100%. 100%. It was. And those are two teams to watch the rest of the season that are going to be a lot of fun. All right, let's jump over to college football as we've got a very special guest in the room. Man, so let me just bring him in by saying this. There's a lot of people that you run across in this sports media world, and you just come across them and you find them and you like their content. They have great content. They're consistent with their content. But then you look and you realize these people cover more than just one thing. And this is how I found our guest, Mr. Mike Patton. So I found him through Tennessee State. And then I realized, oh, this guy covers my favorite NFL team. So, and not only does he cover them, he covers them from all angles, including breaking down film, which I love that Mike is starting to do, by the way, because I'm a film nut myself. But I'll say all that just to say, Mike Patton has joined the show, man. Thank you very much for coming on, Mike.
Thank you for having me.
So let's start with the FCS playoffs and a team, like I just said, that you cover, Tennessee State. Tell us a little bit about their season and what has transpired to get them to where they are now.
Well, about their season, they're 9-3. They tied for the OVC championship. Their first piece of OVC championship or Big South OVC championship since 1999. 9-3 record, best record they've had since 2013. Their season, I would say, has been one of resilience because this season has been dedicated to an offensive lineman that they lost in a wreck that happened. He basically pushed his girlfriend out of the way when the speeding car was coming. He got hit by a car and passed away during spring. So they dedicated the season to him. When you see the LLCP on the back of their helmets, number 62, that's for Long Live Chazon Page. That was his name. So they dedicated the season to him, and they've been resilient pretty much all season, showing that when they're down, they're up, anything like that. They fought hard. They lost to North Dakota State. That was an early loss. It was a big loss early, but it kind of showed them where they needed to go and where they need to get better. And throughout this season, they've been down in some games, but come back, or they've came out and of course jumped on teams like they did on Southeast Missouri, and they've continually gotten better and better and found ways to win each and every game, and shown that they are a team that is definitely serious, and a team that has actually gotten better and better. And none of that could happen without the quarterback, which is Draylen Ellis, which he was a part-time player last year in terms of they were rotating quarterbacks. But this year he was guaranteed. He was given the quarterback position. It was his position from the beginning, and with him and UT Martin, the offensive coordinator that came over from the coordinator, actually the offensive coordinator came over from UT Martin to Tennessee State, and that has been a huge difference as well, along with the defense manned by Brandon Fisher, who, by the way, went to Montana and is going back home to Montana to face Montana this week.
Interesting stuff. John, go ahead.
Yeah, Mike, the thing that's been impressing me the most this year regarding Tennessee State is the offensive line. They've only given up 23 sacks on the year. And, you also got a dual threat quarterback like you brought up, so that kind of helps too, a little bit in general. But the offensive line has definitely stood out, only giving up 23 sacks. What can you say about the offensive line this year?
The offensive line play has been excellent this year. I would say excellent in pass blocking. I wouldn't say all the time excellent in run blocking, but the last few years, of course, you've had issues with protecting the quarterback. They brought in Connor Meadows, a transfer from the University of Tennessee this year, and he has been great for them at offensive tackle. You don't have to worry about him. You don't have to give him help. He's got it covered over there. So that has been a huge thing for them. And of course, it just solid play up front, guys that are all joined together as one, knowing the things that they need to do, and they take pride in the things that they're doing up front, which not that they didn't before, but definitely adding Connor Meadows, getting some consistency, some continuity up front, with new guys, by the way, not a lot of new guys, but they all got on the same page pretty quickly, and are basically in sync with each other, because if the offensive line's not in sync, and of course things can happen that are not very good. So between that and then also the timing of getting rid of the football from Draylen Ellis, the offensive line has definitely looked way improved this year.
So when you look at the man leading it all, former Tennessee Titan, Eddie George, he's another former player that's come in to start coaching. And you look, a lot of people may have questioned that hire at the beginning, but I don't feel like they're questioning it now. What are your thoughts on Eddie George, both as a football coach and then also as a media member who's spoken with him, covered him? What are your thoughts on how he's running the program?
I think Eddie is playing to his strengths. Eddie is a leader of men, and you can just tell by the way talking to him, he's a leader of men. He doesn't, get out there to rah-rah. He can be rah-rah, but he's just not a guy that's just going to be out there just be talking for the heck of it. He's a guy that gets out there and tells you what you need to do, and he lets his coordinators do what they do. That's the biggest thing that I think, he does. He's not going to pretend like he's some kind of offensive genius that just decided to coach one day. No, he's a leader of men, but he also allows his coaches to do what they need to do to make this team successful. And in speaking to him, you've kind of learned that over time he's learned more and more as a coach, because when he first started, he was just brutally honest, saying, hey, I'm still learning different things or whatever. And of course, he had Jeff Fisher there to kind of be there to, help out things like that, and kind of, someone to lean on. One thing I did notice is that Jeff Fisher hasn't quite been there as much this year as he has been in years past. And it's kind of gotten a little bit less over the last couple of years. even though his son is the defensive coordinator. But it's been a little bit less over the last couple of years because believe Eddie's kind of stepped more into that role, learned more, and kind of forged his own way towards being a head coach at the at this level that he's at now. And then talking to him, you can tell that he's basically a brutally honest person. He's going to tell you exactly what happens. Like one game, I remember going to the press conference and him saying that basically they didn't play, don't know what happened, and basically saying his team did not show up. Which a lot of coaches won't get out there and say our team didn't show up, and then he took it upon himself to say, "Hey, I've got to find ways to get this team prepared." So I will tell you, this team loves Eddie George. Now, a lot of people have asked me or said, "Well, I don't know if they play for him." No, they definitely play for him. They love Eddie George because he's not a coach that comes out there and just yells and rah-rah and goes off on you on the sideline. No, no, no. He's going to give you what you need to hear, but he's not going to give you that in a self-serving way. He's going to give it to you to try to lift you up and make you better. That's just the coach he is, and that the person that he is as well. And that's why the players love him so much.
Interesting. Go ahead, Joe.
Mike, another thing that's impressing me is his recruiting at Tennessee State. Also, he's doing it all over the state, I might add too. So not only is he recruiting in West Tennessee by getting some Bartlett High School players and other surrounding areas out of Memphis, but he also is recruiting the national area pretty well in general too. So just talk about how he's done in recruiting and also in the transfer portal by adding some skilled players like a Tevin Carter, who might not have seen a little bit of action this year, but he's playing some quality minutes and helping out the offense a little bit with the experience at the highest level too.
Well, I would say this as far as Tevin, I believe he's going to be the guy next year because Draylen's out of eligibility. So
Okay.
I believe that definitely Tevin will be the guy next year. I'm excited to see what he can bring. With his wheels and of course his arm. Seen him a little bit in spring ball. I kind of got a little bit of sample of what he can do. So yeah, that's a big thing. Also, like you mentioned, the Nashville area recruiting. Looking at that, I mean, the guy Sanders Ellis, the linebacker, he's actually from the area up here. So he's actually the freshman of the year and defensively in the Big South OVC Conference. And then Boogie Trotter's a guy that went to Pearl Cone High School up here in Nashville. Brought him back. He's one of your top defensive players, not only in this conference, but across this area and this division, and then also just this level of football, but with the way he's able to just make plays happen and, defensively getting turnovers, interceptions, things like that. And then, of course, Memphis area, you got to also talk about just he definitely, has dug into the Memphis area to bring players up here. They may not all be playing right now, but trust me, they stick around with Eddie, they'll get there because, you look at the team, it's a veteran team. And like you mentioned, also with the transfer portal, you got Jalal Dean. He was a guy that played at Tennessee Tech last year, and he actually transferred over to play for Tennessee State this year. Now he's going to the playoffs. You have guys like your big uglies up front. You had a guy transfer from Georgia State, I believe, up front, or Georgia Southern up front to actually play for Eddie George. That's got 300-pounders up front, basically. You have a defensive end from Southeast Missouri that transfers to play for Tennessee State, and ironically plays against his former team to get Tennessee State to the playoffs. So there we go. So you have a lot of different pieces that have actually transferred in. You have a lot of pieces that transferred out. Beard that played for Arkansas Pine Bluff and transferred to Tennessee State. He actually left Tennessee State this offseason. You had the defensive end that was player of the year. He transferred to Tulane. So those pieces left. You had other pieces come in, and they still are a super solid defense, still a defense that they actually were one of the best pass defenses in the Big South OVC and across the nation as well. Even with those losses, that just speaks to the recruiting of Eddie George and the mixture of, young talent, transfer portal guys as well, and then as well as guys just sticking with the course of the program. And then also, I didn't mention Karate Brinson. Brinson actually is a guy that transferred from Ball State. He's been in the program a couple years, and he had his best year as a wide receiver for Tennessee State this year.
Wow.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Wow.
Didn't mention. I
Mike
forgot one
Patton.
guy.
Oh, go ahead.
Forgot one guy. CJ Evans. CJ Evans transferred from Austin P, and he has been a great, great addition for them. He has been a guy that's been he was first team All OVC in terms of kick return and punt return. And even I don't know if you all watched the UT Martin versus Tennessee State game, but Tennessee State was down 21-0, and they got back in that game because CJ Evans returned a kick 99 yards or 98 yards, got back in the game, and that got them back in the game. Of course, they didn't win the game, but they were right there to win the game, making a drive, but just didn't happen. But he's done that pretty much all year. And then in the course against Southeast Missouri, he catches a swing pass and takes it all the way to the house. That's the kind of explosive ability he has, and he added that to Tennessee State this year. And he's also a former Austin P governor as well. So he actually, him and Draylon actually know each other from Austin P.
Man, he's going to
Man,
play
Mike
from all
Patton
over.
Man, he'll give you the whole roster, won't he? Boy, man, he's breaking down everybody. I love it. Love what he does. And Mike, speaking of Tevin, so we had Tevin on right when he signed at Memphis or committed. A little tidbit about Tevin: he hates bugs, and once he finishes playing football, he wants to create a pest control business, which I told him on air needs to be named Precision Pest Control because of his precision accuracy. So there's a little tidbit on Tevin in case you want to ask him about that down the road. And you can say 4-star sports media. It's fine. I won't stop you.
Yeah, that's something to talk about with him for sure. I'm pretty sure I'll probably be talking to him a little bit more. I did get to interview him after the spring game this past off season. So, hopefully I'll get to interview him again soon.
Yeah, he's a great kid, man. Great kid. A lot of fun to talk to. Very humble young man. And just, man, he's a talented ball player. Mike Patton joins us today on the Sports Buffet. It's one day before we get to gobble and wobble, folks, as tomorrow is Thanksgiving. And so with the Thanksgiving, I got to ask Mike a couple of questions on Thanksgiving before we let him go. First question is this, Mike. Are you a ham guy or are you a turkey guy?
Man, can I be both? But
Yes.
yeah, on Thanksgiving I do go with the turkey, even though the turkey's got to be tender though. It can't be the tough turkey now. You mess around fighting the turkey to eat it. Nah. But as long as it's tender, I'm good with the turkey.
All right. And then if you could have one side dish forever and one side dish to go away forever, what would those two be?
Well, that's tough because I eat everything.
Amen, brother.
Let's see. Macaroni and cheese got to stay forever. That is forever going to stay. Let's see what else. What could go away? God, it's tough, man. That is tough. I can't think of anything that would go away, to be honest, because I eat pretty much every single thing.
Cranberry sauce.
Yeah, cranberry sauce and potato salad, that go away.
Ooh.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll throw that away for macaroni and cheese and dressing and all those different things. I'll keep all of those. Potato salad, I wouldn't really miss it if it wasn't there.
I make sure I ship some to your house.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, Mike just answered. That's funny. Mike just answered my bonus question, which is, are you a stuffing or are you a dressing? But obviously he's a dressing. So
Yes. I've never heard it called stuffing in my entire life until I was like grown.
Hey, Mike, can I ask you a quick question real quick before we get off?
Sure.
Talk about this conference as a whole, and then talk about the coaches that has impacted the conference in general, because I like what Coach Simpson is also doing at UT Martin.
Oh, yes. I definitely love what he's doing. I mean, I am, for if you didn't know, I am actually a UT Martin alum. I actually did play football for UT Martin. But yeah, as far as what Coach Simpson has done, he's brought a lot of consistency to that program from the moment he stepped foot on that campus. I mean, he's getting guys that I could only dream they would get, like guys from like Hawaii coming to UT Martin. I never thought that would ever happen. But yeah, he's getting guys from there, getting transfer portal guys. He's done a great job of, getting guys that are local around the area as freshmen, things like that, and then also accentuating his team with transfer portal guys. I mean, his quarterback's transfer portal guy, his running back's a transfer from Vanderbilt, which who thought that would happen? A guy would transfer from Vanderbilt to UT Martin. Rucker, his wide receiver, there you go. That guy's a playmaker. I mean, you can just speak of the consistency he has with all the different pieces that are moving around up there with transfer portal guys as well. I mean, that's just something that I got to tip my hat to him because he always brings these teams together to be good. And despite all the chaos in terms of moving pieces around him with players.
What are the chances his son might be going from Alabama to UT Martin? No, okay.
I've thought about that. Honestly,
Yeah.
I have actually thought about that. I did think that potentially probably could happen last offseason, but now I'm not for sure. Just depending upon what quarterback comes to Alabama. I think they've got a 5-star quarterback coming there. If that's the case, I mean, do I see him transferring? Yeah. Do I see him transferring down to this division? I'm not so sure yet, and I'm not so sure he would want to transfer back to Martin because, trust me, I graduated from Martin, went to school in Martin. Don't know if I want to do that.
And then he's got a younger brother who's a true freshman in high school, is a stud right now.
Yeah. He will.
Yeah.
I mean, would I say he'll probably leave? Yep. If you have a chance to leave Martin, you probably leave Martin. I mean, I played with a guy that actually left Martin and came back to Martin, which his name is Kendrick Edwards. He actually was a linebacker at Middle Tennessee State, and he transferred back to UT Martin. And for those that don't remember, Justin Harrell that played for the University of Tennessee, he actually is from Martin as well. So that's another one.
Yeah, I mean, I loved, like, my cousin played for Martin way back in the day. There's just not a lot going on in Martin,
Nope.
Tennessee. Just not. But Mike, we appreciate you carving out a few minutes for us this morning here on the Sports Buffet. Before we let you go, man, it's now your chance to take the floor. How can we follow you? How can we follow your work? Anything new you got coming up, and or any pieces you want to plug or anything like that? The floor is yours, my friend.
All right. Well, thank you again for having me on the show. I greatly appreciate you all offering up your time to allow me to grace your airwaves. Um, of course, I'm Mike Patton. You can find me on the artist formerly known as Twitter. I like to pay homage to Prince when I talk about that place. You can find me on the artist formerly known as Twitter at Mike Patton 82. That's MikePatton 82. You can also find me on Blue Sky at the same thing. You can also find me on Instagram and Threads at that's THA and THE _general _NP. And touring the AFC South, you can find on all listening platforms, whether it be Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, you name it, we're there. Also on YouTube as well. And of course, Tennessee State coverage. I mix that up a little bit. That's sometimes can be on the Nashville Voice. It sometimes can be other places, but yeah, I'd like to keep. I guess I got to keep people with their eyes open to kind of pay attention where that coverage might show up.
And we'll talk Titans with you down the road too.
Smart, man. I was about to say, yeah, we'll talk Titans with you down the road. We got, nice weekend, but there's a lot of
I've already
fixed there. But anyway,
I already. The funny thing is, I actually made an appearance on XL or 1010 XL radio. If you don't know, that's the flagship radio station for Jacksonville. I actually said before the season that the Jacksonville Jaguars would finish last in the division on air on 1010 XL. And of course, I got a lot of vitriol. The host disagreed with me, but of course, in chat rooms and everything, I was calling everything but a child of God. Actually, the funny thing is, I went on air and talked about it, and I believe I'm not sure when it's airing, but the host actually gave me an apology on air. He said you were right.
Hey, I got to listen to that. Yeah, I got to listen to that. That's gonna be up. Heck yeah, a little crow. Heck yeah, throw a little barbecue sauce on it, a little cheese. It ain't bad.
Yeah, cracked me up. I was like, I didn't expect any apology on the air. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah.
That's good stuff, man. Well, good stuff. Well, as always, Mike Patton comes with nothing but good stuff with his coverage. Man, appreciate you carving out some time. And for all of our listeners, check out Mike Patton's coverage on the Tennessee Titans first and foremost. But then anything else he does, check him out. Great coverage. And look, he just gave us a rundown of the roster. John asked one question, and he gave us like 20 players off the top of his head, it's seemingly. So, but man, great stuff from Mike Patton. Mike, I appreciate you coming on, man.
Thank you for having me.
All right, Mike Patton. John, Mike Patton just came in and did an incredible job right there. I didn't know that much about Tennessee State. I didn't know that much about, I mean, obviously I know who Eddie George is, but interesting stuff there. And hey, us at 4-Star may have made a little connection there with a little bug, you know? We put a bug in his ear, John. That's funny. But we we appreciate Mike coming on this morning, man. Great stuff from Mike Patton. John, what did you learn from Mike Patton?
Eddie George, because he's done a phenomenal job at Tennessee State. I was going to put Mike on the spot. Who's done a better job on their coaching, Deion Sanders or Eddie George? But no, I'm not going to go that far and ask him.
Ooh,
But I think, to be honest with you, I think Eddie George
that,
done a great job, not only recruiting, but also players in general. And like Mike brought up, the players
I
seem to love
think
him as well.
exactly. And with that question, I think Eddie has done a better job of building a program for long-term sustainability.
Recruiting to high
And
school,
we'll just
we've
leave it at
always
that.
said it.
Exactly. That's what I've been saying from the beginning. You can only do so much through a portal. You can only do so much. All right, man. Let's take a quick look around college football real quick because we got some big games coming up this weekend. We're going to talk about the Thursday game in just a minute. But John, Friday, 11 a.m. You got Oregon State, Boise State over on Fox. Speaking of Colorado, you got Colorado, ABC, Oklahoma State at Colorado. Colorado's a 16.5-point favorite. Boise State is a 19.5-point favorite as well. 2:30, you got the Egg Bowl kicking off on ABC. Mississippi State coming down to Oxford 2-9, taking on the number 14 Ole Miss Rebels, I guess is what they are now. 8-3 for Lane Kiffin and the Rebs. 26-point favorite for Ole Miss, by the way, in that ball game. Then you've got good old-fashioned hate. Man, this is one of my favorite rivalry games every single year, and that is the Ramblin' Wreck coming in at 7-4, sorry, traveling over to Athens to take on the number 7 ranked Georgia Bulldogs, coming in at 6:30 p.m. on ABC. Georgia comes in at 9-2. Georgia's a 19.5-point favorite currently right now. John, then Saturday, it just continues, man. And we're going to talk about it more coming up. But Saturday, you got Michigan, Ohio State on Fox. Tennessee, Vanderbilt. That one put a star around it, folks. Clemson, South Carolina. Illinois, Northwestern. USC, Notre Dame. That's got some interesting little connections there. Auburn, Alabama. Can Hugh work a little magic? I would say could Hugh make some calls, but that's you can't say that now. Arizona State, Arizona. Can Arizona State get the win? If they do, I believe they go to the Big 12 championship. 2:30, John, 2:30 p.m. on SEC Network. This game's very, very interesting. Arkansas, 6-5, taking on number 21, Missouri. Missouri is only a 3-point favorite. And the other thing is this, John. There's a possibility of a little bit of precipitation, and it might be white. They're talking about possible snow in Columbia, Missouri.
Interesting.
Don't sleep on the Hogs in this game, John. That's all I'm going to say. Don't sleep on the Hogs. You got a battle of opposites as 1-10 Purdue travels to Indiana to take on 10-1 Indiana. That's going to be an interesting ball game there. John, how excited are you for the game coming on Saturday night at 6:30 on ABC? Is number 3 Texas coming in at 10-1 travels to Kyle Field to take on Texas A&M. It's back. I love this rivalry. I like this rivalry more than I do Texas Oklahoma.
Yeah, absolutely. I could
I
agree 100%.
love this rivalry. Oh, I love it, dude. So glad it's back. I'm glad it's in the SEC too. I think that's cool. But Texas A&M, man, don't sleep on the Aggies in this football game. I'm telling you right now, Elko is going to have his guys ready to play. Don't sleep on the Aggies. I don't think they ruin college football playoff, but don't sleep on them.
Well,
What's your thoughts?
Marcelo Reed made a great point this week in the interviews. He said, "This is our playoff right now because the winner of this goes to the SEC championship and land and face Georgia." And then Texas A&M definitely still has a shot with a lot of help and maybe even qualifying for the playoff in general. So yeah, robbery at its
If you win the
best.
SEC championship, you're in.
Yeah, $500 for tickets right now. By the way, on third-party markets.
No, no chance. Hey, but by the way, speaking of that, if you do need seats, head over to SeatGeek. They are the world's greatest ticket supplier, and they've got other little things that they do too. So SeatGeek is doing a thing where they have a rating scale. So when you go look at the ticket, if it has a green bar next to it, it's a great buy. If it has a red bar next to it, it's not a great buy. So find the ones with the green bars. When you do, find a ticket $50 or more. Type in promo code 4-Star Sports Media. For those of you listening, it's 4STARSPORTS all in one whack. When you do type in that in, we're going to save you $20 off your first ticket purchase. And John, there's a big game going on tomorrow down in New Orleans as it's 9-2 Memphis travel down to take on the 9-2 number 17 ranked Tulane Green Wave. John, currently Memphis leads this series 24-15-1. The last meeting was last season, where Tulane won 31-21. John, Memphis will be playing a game on Thanksgiving Day for the 23rd time in program history. Thursday's matchup will be the first Thanksgiving Day matchup for the Tigers since 1983. Interesting stuff, John. That is 42 years ago. Can Memphis go to Tulane and work some voodoo?
Dangerous place to play at for one thing. It's on national TV, so we know Tulane's going to show out in their fan base on national TV. I know they're going to go out and support Tulane. The real question is, are Tulane Greenway students are going home for Thanksgiving break, or are they going to be down there supporting their own football team? Because in all reality, Tulane's already going to the AAC championship, so
Yep.
the students do make a little bit of a difference down there as well regarding the crowd noise.
Yeah, for sure. 41st meeting between these two teams. Tulane does have the number 4 scoring offense in the country at 40.5 points per game, and does lead the American, and that also leads the American. And number 10 in scoring defense with 17.1 points a game. They do have the number 10 rushing offense and number 24 rushing defense, and they rank number 9 in total defense, averaging 290.4 yards a game, allowing. That also leads the American. Mackay Highs ranks eighth nationally with 1,291 yards, 17 total touchdowns. And his 17 total touchdowns are eighth in FBS. And this is the guy that Memphis has got to contain. Quarterback Darian Mensah ranks sixth in the nation with 169% passing efficiency. His 14.5 yards per completion is number 4 in FBS. And I don't want to hear any fans, and I know that it's going to happen, that are going to trash this kid and say, oh, this kid sucks. Oh, this kid sucks. Oh, this is a poverty program. Guess what? Tulane's playing for an American Athletic Conference championship. And Memphis is going down there just to try to ruin a playoff hope for them. So you really can't trash any team. But I think Memphis goes down, John, and gets a win in this game to make it 10 wins. That would be back-to-back 10-win seasons for the first time in program history, by the way. And I think Memphis works some magic and gets the win. I think this Memphis team is still pissed off after UTSA.
So you asking me to do a prediction?
Yes, I am. Yes, that's exactly what that was. Yes.
Okay. Oh man. Let's be real. This is probably the best defense Memphis has faced all year, other than Rice. Well, other than Rice,
It is. No, it's actually better than Rice.
Right. Statistically, they're better than Rice. Right. So the keys in this game, first of all, I'm going to say this: the keys in this game, in my opinion, you got to contain the dual threat quarterback that he is. Third down conversions is always going to be key, of course. And then time possession. If you can control the clock and keep Tulane offense off the field, I think you do definitely have a good shot. I'd like to go with my heart here, but man, it's so much tough down there in general to play a football game. That on-campus stadium, there's something, as like Nick Saban said, there's something spooky about it. We always don't play well down there. I guess the good thing is we're not wearing all black. We're wearing white.
I mean, this is true.
So
this is true.
I mean, I'll go Tulane maybe about 7 points, 34-27, just because I think their defense is so good and their dual threat quarterback is so good too as a freshman. But the running game is going to have a good day as well. They're going to have at least 120 yards on the ground to have a good day. And then the offensive line, don't put Seth in wrong spots on a false start penalty or a dumb holding call in general, like you have been the last couple of games as well.
Yeah, you gotta play smart, sound football. You've got to establish a running game, and that running game has to continue all game. Speaking of running backs, Memphis, I know, got a portal pickup today from the Iowa running back, a real good plant and go runner. Going to be a lot of fun to watch him in the backfield next year with what currently could be another stacked running back room. I'm really excited about this game. I think Thanksgiving, you get the old Egg Bowl slot and the time slot. You are the only game on Thursday night, college-wise. So if anybody wants to watch college football, you are the game. It's time to go make a statement. And
Right.
I think if Memphis can go and make a statement win, and when I say statement win, that's more than 10-point win. I think you should anyway change a lot of the detractors that call the guy silver fraud. You can't take away from the fact Memphis has a chance to win 10 games back to back and potentially 11. You can't take that away from him. I don't care that the conference is weak. Guess what? Let's think back, John. 2019. Who was the loss to in the season? Temple, right?
Yeah, the
Right.
Joey Connick game. Yeah.
Yep. Right. But then also, do you remember what happened at Tulsa that year, John?
Yeah, their own coach iced the kicker.
Exactly. So I understand, we want to talk about what ifs, and everybody wants to mention, well, this team, this. Well, what about that? What if Tulsa beats the 2019 Memphis team, nobody's discussing how great that team is anymore. So the expectation for Memphis football to win 10 games a year is coming off 1 year. It's coming off 1 year where Memphis finished with 12 wins. Now, they've done 10 in almost back-to-back seasons, and no one wants to bat an eye at it because no one likes the way Silverfield wins. Well, the fact is simple, John. He's winning. Not only is he winning on the football field, he's winning in the classroom because the football team has the highest graduation percentage in program history, by the way. He's also winning on the recruiting trail as he has the highest classes in program history. He's also running in the transfer portal, which is an era that no other coach has had to deal with. So I really don't understand all the hate for the guy, and I would love for somebody. And I know people are going to be like, "Well, he's 5-17 against teams with a winning record. He can't control the team he plays. It's not his fault."
And also, players are
So
staying right now too. They're not entering the portal.
exactly, exactly.
Knock on wood.
Continuity is huge. Yeah, exactly. But I mean, still, you know who stayed? Seth Hennigan. You know who stayed? Tim Cramsey,
Rod Taylor,
Rock Taylor,
Kobe Drake,
Demir. Exactly. Kobe Drake, Demir, the
Brandon Thomas.
lineman. Exactly. Brandon Thomas has been there forever.
Right.
And guess what? I've talked to enough of boosters, enough alumni. They love him too. And that matters. Not some people that get on Twitter and just have anger behind fingers. It's really stupid. But anyway, John, appreciate you coming on with me this morning, man.
Can I answer that
Always
Mike
fun stuff
question
here.
that you asked him about ham or turkey, whatever?
Oh yeah. We
No,
are
then I'll have you answer.
we're going to here at the end.
Okay.
Appreciate you coming on, man. So, final thoughts. It's real simple. Thanksgiving's tomorrow. So, John, couple questions for you, man. Ham or turkey? If you could get rid of any side dish, what would you get rid of forever? What would you eat forever? And then, are you a stuffing guy or are you a dressing guy?
Okay, dressing first of all.
100%.
Um, ham more than turkey. Why? I have no idea. I mean, I'll get mixture of both like Mike would, but I'll probably get a little bit more of ham because sometimes depends on if the turkey smoked or tender also, regarding
Mm-hmm.
that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so the side dish would probably keep mac and cheese. And the side that I do not like up to date still, I used to like it growing up, but I can't stand it now, is sweet potato. I mean,
Really
I can eat sweet potato fries, but sweet potato, get it out of here.
interesting.
But no, man, like I can stand a pie maybe also, but not the sweet potatoes.
Interesting. So, what is it about? I mean, what is it about? Why?
I can't stand it anymore.
That's weird as hell. Uh, I mean, that's just
I
I don't
like
know.
regular mashed potatoes.
Well, true. I mean,
But
I feel you on that. I feel you on that. Um, yeah, for
no,
me, man, I'm kind of like Mike. I'm both, man. I
okay,
like
hang
a
on a
good
second.
ham. I like a
Hang on one second. I guess depending on
really
how
like a good turkey.
the sweet potato also contains on how much cinnamon and butter you put in it too.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, I feel that. I feel that.
Uh,
I've never
hold
been
on.
a big sweet potato person. I do like sweet potatoes. I mean, I'm not just eat them a whole lot. Man, my side that I wouldn't get rid of has got to be green bean casserole. I know it's a white thing, I guess. Whatever. And us white folks love some casseroles. So, and then uh, go away. You get cranberry sauce. Get out of here. Nobody stop. Get out of here. Get out of here. Looks like it comes out of a damn dog food can. Get out of here. The little ridges. No.
Jar.
Um, yeah. No. Just plop down on a little plate. It's weird as hell.
I
Um,
was going to mention to bring get you that on your plate. No, I'm kidding.
no. She knows. She don't even play that. So yeah. Then it's dressing. I've no. Is it stuffing? What is that? No, dressing. It's dressing all day. But man, I'm looking forward to Thanksgiving. All of us from all of us here at Four Star Sports Media, we also want to wish all of our fans and friends and family the best of holiday season starting tomorrow with Thanksgiving. Safe travels if you're going anywhere. I know a lot of Memphis fans are heading down to New Orleans, uh, but my parents are there now, or will be there here in a little bit. But we appreciate everybody watching and listening. And like we said, folks, um, be safe, be careful, but also, man, hug your loved ones, tell them you care, and have a
Stay
great
warm.
holiday season. Exactly. Try to stay warm. It's cold up here right now. It's supposed to be 22 Friday morning up here.
Oh,
Yeah. So brutally cold. But man, John, appreciate you coming on, man. Have a good turkey day. I know you will both gobble and wobble as well. Um,
and
but
don't run
like I
over
said,
each other shopping too on Black Friday, please. Don't
yeah,
do it.
let's stay calm on Black Friday. All right,
It also pay for
I'll be
you
in.
on Friday morning too. So yeah,
Man, yeah, I'll be in Dillard's 8:45 to 6 p.m. Friday for Black Friday shopping. So
if
if
anybody needs
anybody
any
needs any
shoes, holler at the
shoes,
boy West.
yeah, anybody needs any shoes in the Northwest Arkansas area or just online for that matter, holler at me. I've got some avenues we can definitely work out some deals. But man, for John Sturdivant, I am Wes Pruitt. For all of us here at 4 Star Sports Media, once again, folks, happy Thanksgiving. Be safe, safe travels, and as always, stay classy.